Welcome to the Sports Lounge, number 142, this first day of November. It's a little darker, a little earlier, but it's a little lighter, a little earlier. So you get a trade-off. Nathan Stacken here. What did you do with your extra hour? You got an extra hour of life that'll be taken away in a few months.
I slept.
Good.
Yeah. Enjoyed that extra hour of sleep. I didn't do anything too exotic on Halloween. Didn't dress up. Bought a costume. Good. Didn't dress up, though. We'll be returning it to Walmart and getting a refund.
The hell you say? What did you buy?
It was a ghost with a bloody mask. Kelsey would have been the devil. So
what happened there?
Just didn't end up getting dressed up. Didn't go to any parties or anything like that. Pretty low key.
Good.
Halloween.
Plenty on the college football docket. Seems like every week there's great games, great finishes.
Yep.
World Series about to come to a close, which is disappointing for numerous reasons. First week of the NBA season. Some exciting games there. Halloween, Stacken, and Charlie Hildebrand.
Hello.
Welcome to the program.
Hi.
After further review, I have decided that I guess it is a touchdown in the Miami-Duke game.
Oh, have you? You have. How about that?
Then you're suspended, Charlie. Get off the show for 2 weeks.
Well,
That touchdown.
All right. Well, see you later.
Hildebrand out. I was flipping. I mean, there were a lot of games that I was interested in yesterday. I was really excited. And
I didn't mean Charlie really had to leave.
Nope, that's the call. If he,
there we go.
What the hell? If you really think that was a touchdown, you just got to go. That's all it is. You just got to go. I'm flipping back between this and the Minnesota game. Great finishes all around. And I didn't see it live as it happened, which sucks. I saw it immediately after in the replay, in the 10-minute replay after. So I hate that I did not see the actual play actually when it happened. But,
I still haven't seen it.
You still haven't seen the goddamn thing? Do you watch the CBS Evening News?
No, I
haven't seen
don't.
this play. Good Lord, okay.
What's that? What'd you say?
You have not seen this play yet?
I have not seen the play.
When did you get home?
I've only read about it.
Oh my God.
I know it's a shame. I should be more up to date, especially if I'm doing this show.
I'm assuming you're talking about the Miami play still.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember I was at work, so I didn't see it live either. But at times there's dead times in work, so I had Twitter open. And one thing that's fun is I don't follow thousands of people like some do. I only follow like 100 people or something like that. So I'm usually not constantly getting new tweets. But when it goes like, there's one new tweet, there's 17 new tweets like that. It's like, oh, something interesting must have happened. And it turned out that there was obviously something interesting.
Miami at Duke. Duke was the favorite at 6-1. They trailed most of the way, down by 12 points in the last 5-6 minutes. Had a good drive to get within striking distance. Had to stop some clock management issues by Miami. Duke scores with 6 seconds left. They go for 2. They get it. They win by 3. Game's over. Just got to squib the ball there, get them down. Team never comes back to return the kick. And 8 laterals later, a dozen blocking the backs later. I believe it took 45 seconds from a tweet I saw in actual time for this play to happen.
Yep.
It also looked like a runner near the 15-yard line, I believe. His knee was down. So after all that, referee suspended 2 games because they messed it up. Player also ran onto the field there at the end before the runner went into the end zone. So, Mr. Stacken, does this take away a little bit from one of the great finishes in the history of sports?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. Oh, that's a clear block in the back. There's 2 more.
Talk us through it here. Talk us through it.
Well, okay, so I think where the Miami player is down looks like it's about the 25-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who ripped his helmet off. Now they just crossed the end zone. Some guy ripped his helmet off, and I think it's still clearly in play.
Yep.
So that should have been a penalty.
The guy who ripped his helmet off was not even in the play to begin with.
He was
on
on
the sidelines.
And there they go. You have an illegal block in the back. what the fuck? I don't even know.
That's what Duke fans thought.
What the hell?
I don't know. I'm really at a loss of words for this. It's really a phenomenal play. Everyone kind of, when you think of a kickoff return for a touchdown, I almost kind of think of Music City Miracle with the Bills and the Titans back in the '99 wild card game. But this gives it new meaning. But I don't know how the refs could bungle this up so badly.
Maybe it's just me. I think maybe it would have been better if, like, they would not have thrown the. It was that they went through and they basically changed their decision. If they would have been like, we're not changing anything, the ruling stands, I think that might be a little bit different. But to be like, no, we're changing it, and now this was a flag and it isn't, and all this. I mean, I don't know. I think it. Clearly, they're suspended for 2 games, and that's like the. I don't follow referees that much. I don't ever remember seeing someone getting suspended for more than a game, though. So clearly,
they should have to go down at least one level or work the worst conference in FCS. I like the SWAC.
the 11 o'clock ESPN2 Big Ten game.
Yeah, the Patriot League. I don't know. Or make him do Division III. That's you probably have to square one with these guys. I do not know how you can mess that up so bad.
My favorite thing of it all was when they came out, and like I said, I didn't see it live. I've only seen the clips afterwards. But when the guy came out and he said, after further review, the knee wasn't. Oh wait, no, hold on. Actually, we're gonna go review it some more. And he went back and they looked at it again. It's like at that point you knew that this was not gonna end well, and they were basically screwed.
Well, I guess when with the lateral at the 25 with the guy whose leg was down. If they didn't call it down on the field, I can understand that a little bit more of the indisputable evidence. But the flag, I think, is the more damning act because you have...
Hey, language. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, yeah. That's definitely the questionable play because you called a flag, and then during the review, you're just saying, I guess it wasn't... were they reviewing the penalty, too, during it? Because you can't do that.
Nope, you cannot review penalties.
Yeah. Many things here, certain penalties, many things.
Actually, that's the thing that's awkward. You can review if there's 12 guys on the field, and I think you can review if a ball was tipped for pass interference.
You should be able to review anything in which you can watch a replay and determine if this did or did not happen.
Like Bill Belichick says, review everything.
That's what I say. There's no reason not to get the call right. It's not like it would take any longer. Coaches have, 2 challenges in the NFL. They get both right. They get a third. So if you want to waste one of your challenges on a block in the back call, by all means, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wouldn't say review everything. I think there's some judgment calls they shouldn't be able to review, but I would agree with it. I don't think you should be able to review like holding on the offensive line.
That's tough.
Or if they don't call it and be like, now we need to look. But I mean, aside from like 2 or 3 things like that, I would agree. You should be able to review everything else. I mean, it's pretty clear if someone grabs someone's face mask or not. I mean, so clearly you should be like, yeah, let's review to see if we should get this face mask penalty. I'm fine with things like that.
There was at least one bad block in the back early and maybe another one. I mean, you can see that. You can obviously review that and see, okay, is this a block in the back or not? That's something that you could look at, but they do not. And if they did look at this, I'm fine that they did. But if they did look at it, they should have said, well, that's a block in the back. That is no good. When the runner is down, the runner way at the beginning is down. Is he down? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. I do like that the ref swallowed their whistle, though, and let the play run out. I mean, too often you see the refs blow a play dead when they shouldn't, and that can negate an ending like you saw there. So I will credit the referees to at least let the play run its course.
I know there's always been debate in the Cal-Stanford game, if I don't know which one, but one of them, they said the guy's knee was down, and it's kind of tough to tell. I think it's much, much clearer with modern HD technology to be able to
Right.
be like, oh yeah, clearly the Miami guy was down. The ball was not out of his hands.
I do not dispute that the runner was down, but if this was a normal play, he's lateraling the ball back, essentially somewhat fumbling the ball back. If this was a normal runner on the field, could you make the case that the ball was moving before the knee hit, and when the knee hit, the ball was already coming out, similar to how you would see any receiver or a running back on a field saying, well, the ball was not completely out by the time his knee was down, but the ball was moving, it was coming, it was starting to come out.
It was on the come.
It was on the come. It was a bye. Is that a legitimate argument to where the ball started to come out before his knee was down, or is this a completely different situation?
I think it is this is certainly plausible.
I would say in the scenario you've described for this one, he was down.
He was down, yes, he was.
But
does this make it more memorable that they screwed up? Because with or without it, it's one of the most, for the third week in a row, something I've never seen end a game. The Georgia Tech blocked kick return for a touchdown, and then the punt in the Michigan's game. Does it make it any more memorable that this was a F-up of
Epic proportions.
epic proportions? Because Duke could have went to the conference title game. They still can, but now it's tougher.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't think the importance of this game, there wasn't as much at stake in this game as the Michigan or Michigan State one. That's more of a rivalry. Miami sucks. Duke, I guess, has a shot at the Coastal or the Atlantic, whatever the hell.
One of them.
you're the ACC guy. You're the one that's got to remember that stack.
I know. Bless my soul. Anyway, I just think if there was more at stake, it would be considered more of a greater mess up. But it's still bad. It's still an egregious error.
I would agree that it makes it a bigger deal or easier to remember because of the errors by the officiating, that will make it more memorable. I also agree with Stacken that 30 years from now, I still think the Michigan State one will probably be a bigger deal because it's a bigger rivalry. And I think Michigan State and maybe even Michigan will end up going further in the season, having better years than either Miami or Duke will. And that I mean, it doesn't happen often, but like we've seen weird kickoff returns for touchdowns at the end. I think only Cal Stanford was like as crazy as that one was. I can't ever think of a time though where I've seen like the screwed up snap on the last play of the game on a punt decide the game.
For the foreseeable future, will this make you watch the last 5 seconds of a game more when it is in doubt? Similar to the Temple Notre Dame finish. They had about 7 seconds left. Quarterback ran around, fumbled the football, and then threw it out of bounds, Colt McCoy style. Will this make you watch the end of these games that you're thinking, well, game's done?
No.
Maybe? No.
I mean, I think it probably would for me, at least for a little while. Like 3 years from now, I don't know, but for the rest of the season, certainly.
Because I'm watching this, I see the Duke game, and then I see the Notre Dame Temple finish like an hour later, and then, it's 7 seconds left. All they got to do is wait 7 seconds. And then the quarterback fumbles the football. I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, if Temple picks it up and scores, we just end the whole thing for all times.
I think it would be really fun to see, like, the Nielsen rating data or, like, the cable box rates for... I mean, I think it's safe to assume Michigan and Michigan State fans watched the end of that game, and obviously Miami and Duke fans were still watching, but like everybody else in the country would have changed the channel.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to see like the percentage of people in the numbers that changed the channel and then frantically turned it back after the play was over to try to see the aftermath of it. That would be interesting data. I
would assume it'd be very similar to a chart. Like the win expectancy chart. It'd be going down, down, down. Like Miami had like an 1/8 of a % chance to win. All of a sudden, boom, pops right back up.
Or kind of like if you're taking a lie detector test and
Yep.
you're passing it very well, and all of a sudden you start telling a lie, and that thing's going to jump in a hurry.
Boom. Another good finish was, or another bad finish, depending on which way you go, Minnesota, Michigan. 19 seconds left. They're at the half-yard line. Nice 30-yard pass from Leidner. Kids down at the half-yard line after it called a touchdown. They go nuts. Review says he was down.
I went nuts too.
You went nuts too. It's good for you. 19 seconds left. They let about 10 seconds run off for no reason. They pass it, no good. 2 seconds are left. They have a timeout. It doesn't matter. They go for the win, which I'm fine with. They sneak it. Michigan's stout defensive line stops them, crying all around. Mr. Stacken, first off, what was the deal with the time management with 19 seconds left?
I cannot even be.
What were they trying to do? Because apparently the head coach says they knew the clock was right.
Tracy Claeys is a phenomenal defensive coordinator. He's a very good defensive coordinator. I thought he was well in line here to possibly get this Minnesota job, but I think he botched it last night and botched any chance he has at winning the job or earning it, because Minnesota's playing with such high emotion yesterday, and that was probably one of the best games that they put together in quite some time. Most played, especially against a team like Michigan, just with the raw emotion with Jerry Kill retiring Wednesday. And 19 seconds left. You have to have a play ready. You don't. I even said this. I was watching with a friend. I said they can't go into shotgun. They can't. And then all of a sudden they audible into shotgun. It's like, what the hell are you doing? You know the clock starts right as the ball is about to go into play. The refs are going to move. You have 19 seconds and one timeout left. You could have had 3 or 4 plays, and instead you come up with 2 garbage-type plays. It's disgusting. It's implorable. I can't believe it. I really can't. I thought Minnesota had this game, and then to just see Michigan run off that little brown jug, sickening. Sickening, and I'm going to say it for Marcus, too, since he's not on with us. I can only imagine his disgust is as high as mine. It's probably higher because he's a little more emotionally invested into this program, but good God.
If you're Minnesota, that's a mistake you can't have happen. And you know what? Maybe the coaches did know, but obviously the quarterback didn't know or did not have it stressed how important it was. And I don't know if they audibled or if it was just a formation shift or what it was, but they blew way too much time. And like he said, I don't even have a problem with them going shotgun, but you know what? You should do that from the beginning.
Exactly.
So you can try to get 4 plays, because if you've got a chance to run 4 plays, you want to have your opportunity to run all 4, and they only ran 2. And then they had 1 or 2 timeouts.
One timeout, and I think the play itself, Leidner took 6 or 7 seconds. It's not like they took it all the way down. It was a 3 or 4 second boom play. He took his time with it. So if he just does a normal play, it's like 3 or 4 seconds. You have 2 other opportunities then. And I still don't know why you don't kick the field goal. I mean, yes, Michigan probably seems to have a better advantage with the ball at the 25-yard line, like the college overtime rules have. But at least give yourself an opportunity. To lose it like that, it's not embarrassing. The clock management is the embarrassing part. It's just, it's ACC referee to bungle that the final 19 seconds of that game.
Kerns will love this. They would have been better off throwing a fade.
Fade
right away instead of doing what they did. They would have been better off lining up and throwing a fade immediately when the clock started and doing that 3 straight plays and then kicking a field goal, as opposed to blowing the first 15 seconds or whatever.
And then less than an hour later, the Wild lose in a shootout to the Blues.
Oh, no.
So it was just a bad hour for Minnesota sports fans.
Then those Vikings lost today. They lost to the Bears.
Hey, wait a second now. We'll get to that later.
Wait a second. They didn't win. They didn't win. Or maybe you could spike the ball. If you know the clock's going to stop and you need more time, how would you just spike the damn thing?
But even after a review, they should have known that, and they should have been lined up. I mean,
you got to be talking on the sideline. There was a review. You guys, okay, here's the deal. Here's our plays. Go now. Do not waste any time. Line up and go.
Yeah, they should have played. I mean, I would say they should have thrown it the first 2 times. I don't know what routes you do, what combinations, but throw it the first 2 times. Incomplete passes and plays that take 3 or 4 seconds. Run it up the middle on 3rd down. Call your timeout if you don't get it, and then you can decide if you want to kick a field goal or if you want to go for it on 4th down, as opposed to just being like, well, this should have gone better, and now we're in a only 1-play situation when we should have had at least 2 more if we needed them.
And I'm fine with them going for the win. Ballsy call, I like it. You need a half yard.
I do understand that. I guess that's not the big issue. It's more, though, after you screwed it up so bad with the first play, why not just take it, go to overtime, and take your chances? I would have no confidence in that. And I guess I'm wondering, too, was that the look that they were hoping Michigan was going to give them, and that's why they audibled to shotgun to try and get Michigan spread out or in a panic or something? I guess I don't know why you would move from under center to shotgun there unless that was the look that you wanted the Michigan defense to give you. Which goal line?
Do we truly know that they audibled, or that it wasn't just a shift to start with?
Okay, it could. I guess I just don't know why you move from under center to shotgun there in that
You don't have enough time to do that, whatever it is.
Yeah, agreed.
Right.
You don't have time. No. Jerry Kill resigned earlier in the week. Health problems. Mr. Stacken, were you stunned that this happened?
The timing caught me off guard. I didn't think it would happen. Of course, we know he's been dealing with a lot of, his issues with epilepsy and seizures, which I know firsthand. What seizures are like. Of course, not as violent as what Kill's been doing or as numerous, but certainly his health is of utmost importance. I think it did kind of blindside everyone, though, kind of like with the passing of Flip Saunders. I'm sure those in and around the program knew that something like this was coming. They were bracing themselves for it, but to go down, and I haven't seen that emotional of a press conference. Raw emotion, genuine emotion. That was really touching to see. I was moved by it. I think quite a few other people were too. And then you just hear all the analysts kind of talk about, like Trevor Maddich said, he's a good person. He's so well respected. That you don't often hear unanimously across across the spectrum. But certainly it's a tough blow to the University of Minnesota. And he did a lot. He brought the Gophers back from, he brought them up to respectability and has made this position, this job, I think, somewhat one of the better ones in the country, at least in terms of the vacant.
Certainly a hell of a lot better than where Tim Brewster left at.
Okay, would you take Minnesota or would you take the U of M job right now?
The hell's the U of M? Miami?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I'm taking Miami. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you can win a national title there.
Depends.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
I think it depends on the coach.
A black coach.
If I was black, I would. If I was a black coach, I would go to Miami.
There you go.
But I don't know. But like that press conference, like I didn't see it live. I think I saw it on Twitter like a couple hours later, and I just saw his opening statements, and I didn't cry, but that was the closest I've been to crying in a long time. Like I had to listen, but turn away from my computer screen. Like I couldn't watch it. It was just like, oh man, it was heartbreaking.
This was the saddest man of all time, right here. This was the opposite of Steve Spurrier's press conference 2 weeks ago. Spurrier was like, oh, well, I'm done, boys. I'm done here. We're just not doing very well. I'm 70 years old. I'm done. And
the two things, when he was like, people are always asking, I know people are going to ask, what am I going to do? And he's like, I don't know. I've never done anything else. I was like, oh. And then when he said, it was something to the effect of, like, when I walked off the practice field, a part of me died. I was just like, oh, man.
Yeah, it's very sad that he had to be forced away from the game by something that wasn't really in his control. It wasn't. He wasn't forced out by boosters or anything like that. It was a medical condition that, like he said, his body's just tired. He can't fight it and coach at the same time. Maybe if he was an accountant, this would be, or something else that's not quite as stressful. I shouldn't throw accountants under the bus since my parents are both accountants, but something with perhaps a little less stress that doesn't require 20 hours a day of work, or 15, 16, maybe would have been okay. But yeah, it just a sad situation all around. And really, for Minnesota, that was 2 coaches that you lost in a matter of 72 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that don't realize like how much football coaches, like college and pro coaches, work during the week. Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, I work 40 hours, and sometimes I work 50 hours, and it's like they literally work double that.
Yeah.
And it's a grind, and it lasts. I mean, and it lasts through the season, and then they cut back about 10 hours a week until they're done with signing day.
Well, you got to do that. You also got to add an hour when you do the coaches show at the student radio station too. You're forgetting that hour. Minnesota plays at Ohio State next week. Who wins that game?
If Minnesota had beat Michigan, I'd give them.
No. These are provided to be
Here's the answer.
Quick answers.
Ohio State's going to win, but if you're Minnesota, you basically have your dream scenario for it to be close with JT Barrett suspended for getting a DUI, which is dumb because anybody in Columbus would have gladly given him a ride wherever he needed to go.
Yeah.
And then so they're going to throw back in Cardale, who at times is good and at times is really spotty. And if Cardale has one of his spotty games, it could be like a low teens game where they might have a chance. But I still think Ohio State's going to win, but it could get ugly.
Are they going to win at Iowa?
No, probably not.
Can they beat Wisconsin at home?
Yes, they can.
Can they beat Illinois at home?
Yes, they can. They're going to be bowl eligible.
They would go 6-6 if they win their home games and lose their road games. I would say that Wisconsin game being the turning point there. I say they finish 5-7. They beat Illinois. They lose to Wisconsin, and they still might get a bowl game because I expect a handful of teams to be under 500 to make a bowl game because so goddamn many. And I don't think there's going to be enough teams bowl eligible to fill the spots. So who the hell knows? Another game that happened about 3 hours ago, it got done with Washington State and Stanford. If you like soccer, you probably like this game. If you like field goals, you probably had it hard on for hours. Kicker for Washington State makes 5 of them, misses the big one at the end when time runs out. I believe this is one of those games where the loser comes out of it looking a lot better than the winner does. People were hard for Stanford. Are they the best team in the country, they say? After this performance, probably not. Where do we stand with Stanford now? A lot of people like them to run the table.
I still think Stanford's pretty good. I mean, I think that they just kind of walked into
a hornet's
one
nest.
of those. I mean, I wouldn't say a hornet's nest, but one of those like once every 3 years.
It was wet.
And Washington State's playing well, and I think they. I mean, we'll put it this way: in terms of all the Pac-12 teams that have done weird crap on the road and looked awful at times, like basically every Pac-12 South team, Stanford at least found a way to win. So, I mean, and I'm trying to think, their remaining schedule. I know they still have to play Oregon.
It's not difficult at all.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, outside of conference, they still have to play Notre Dame, and that will probably be a bear of a game.
They're all at home, all the tough ones.
But yeah, I would say I still think Stanford's going to finish or win the rest of their games. Well, win the rest of their conference games going into the Pac-12 title game. I don't know about Notre Dame. I like that. Sometimes it's so much harder to play well on the road, especially with pass-happy offenses and quarterbacks. And if you've got a good offensive line and you can find a way to run, and they didn't run great against Washington State, but they're clearly one of the better running teams, and I think that's just more conducive to finding a way to grind out a road win as opposed to trying to do what Cal or Washington State do and say, well, hopefully he gets back in rhythm, and if he doesn't, we're going to lose by 3 touchdowns.
I don't think we're giving Washington State and Mike Leach enough credit, though. I mean, that's a tough win for Stanford. I said in my preview post this week.
The blog.
Yep, in the Stack Attack blog, I said that there are the two teams that I think should be on most ready to lose on the road this week or on upset alert 1 was Oklahoma State, and 2 was Stanford. I think Mike Leach has done a marvelous job getting Washington State, especially after losing to Portland State to begin the season. He's done a very good job in conference, so I think this is a good win for Stanford. Anytime you can get a win like that against a team that not a lot of people are still buying into, yet still is pretty respectable, I think it's a good win for Stanford. I don't think they're the best team in the country, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Who's Washington State's other loss to?
I'm looking right now.
Stanford, they play at Colorado next week. A noon kickoff.
Against a Colorado team that scared the poop out of me for almost knocking off UCLA.
Very close. And then Stanford ends with Oregon, Cal, and Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Sorry
And you would assume Notre Dame, Stanford, that'd be a game of the week, college game day, all that deal.
Is that the last week of the regular, or the week before all the conference title games?
I think so.
Washington State's only other loss was at Cal, 34-28. Cal was ranked 24th.
That's not a bad loss either. So yeah, I mean, Washington State schematically is the absolute polar opposite of Georgia Tech, but like coaching wise and in terms of teams you don't ever want to play, Georgia Tech and Washington State are quite similar. Mm-hmm. We're just like, nope, this is not what we want to do on defense this week. They are making us do stuff we don't want to do, and this is not going to be fun.
They've had a lot of close calls, though, this year. Washington State has lost by 7 to Portland State, beat Rutgers by 3, lose by 6 to Cal, beat Oregon by 7, beat Arizona on the road by 3. The only 2 games that have been blowouts, they blew out Oregon State and they blew out Wyoming. And who doesn't blow out Wyoming these days?
I think it'd be fun if they could find a way to win like 8 games and go to a decent bowl just so... I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but like my glowing Mike Leach at Washington State memory is going to be last year when they lost to Cal. The guy threw 8 touchdown passes, but the kicker missed the field goal or the PAT or whatever at the very end, and they lost, despite the quarterback playing absolutely fantastic. And I think it'd be nice for Mike Leach if they could have something that people would remember other than that.
If you are an awful team, the Kansases of the world, would the best way, the easiest way to be good would be to have a spread offense?
You have to do something. Yeah, you can't go pro style. I think it's pretty, to me at least, it seems pretty apparent that like you can win and win big running a pro style offense, but you need to have more talent than the other teams you're playing. If you play someone more talented, you are not going to win. So I would say, like for somebody like Kansas, even if it's not a Power 5 team, but any bottom-feeding team in their conference, find something different. Do what Washington State does or do what Georgia Tech does.
The main event game of the day, Temple and Notre Dame. Notre Dame scores a late touchdown. Fortunate to win that game. Temple very good defensively. And as we mentioned, that fumble at the end almost was a disaster. Again, maybe another game where the loser shows you something more than the winner does. Temple hanging with Notre Dame, having a late lead. Does that solidify them as a really, really good team that's going to win 9 or 10 games?
Yeah, I think it means that they're really good. I don't remember if they play either Memphis or Houston in the regular season or not.
Houston.
They play Houston, so they would only play Memphis if they play in the conference title game.
And Memphis. They play both Houston and Memphis. And they can play
Memphis
twice in 3 weeks.
I truly think that Temple is pretty good this year, but conceivably could lose to both Memphis and Houston and finish 9-3 or whatever, and not have as good of a record as you would want. I think talent-wise, based off what we've seen, though, they're quite good. And like Toledo's still undefeated, but I think a 1-loss Temple team that beats Memphis and Houston and beats Memphis again or whatever in the conference title game would probably get the group a 5-1 over a Toledo team whose only good win is a bad Arkansas team.
Mr. Stacken, if you're a coach at a school like Temple, would this be a good time? You win your 9 games and you get out of town. There's a lot of openings this year. You get out of town for a real job for big time money.
Well, you know what? We remember the last Temple coach to leave for big time job and he's currently unemployed. So
do it again.
Right now though, the AAC is getting a little more respectable. And I guess they aren't a Power 5, but definitely better than the Sun Belt or
any of the other conferences other than the Power 5 ones.
They are no worse than the 6th best conference, at least. And maybe you could make the case that they are better than ACC or whatever you want to say.
Absolutely. I think you try and the thing is you have to look at the recruits in the team that you got. If you have a lot of seniors that are leaving, you're looking like, maybe this team isn't going to be quite as good. Maybe jump ship, but otherwise, try and ride this thing out. See if you can be good for 2 or 3 years. It's kind of like with Navy. I guess I'll kind of equate it to Navy's good consistently year in and year out. They don't really go to any huge bowl games, but they only lose 1 or 2 games a year. I guess if the coach at Temple knows he can have another successful year next year, maybe do that.
The Boise State type of deal.
Stacking, what would your thoughts be on Matt Rule, the Temple coach, being the next head coach at the University of Minnesota?
Yeah, I thought we were going with someone else here. So
no.
I'm not saying he is, but clearly he's going to. Depending on what happens the rest of the year, he's probably going to be one of 4 or 5 maybe not 4 or 5, but at least 2 or 3 mid-major hot name guys.
Yeah.
Along with obviously Justin Fuente out of Memphis.
That wouldn't be bad. Yeah, the Fuentes from Memphis. That's a pretty good deal. I'd say that Minnesota would want a coach that has had some success previously at turning around a program. So definitely look at Temple, but otherwise. Then I wouldn't go with like a hot coordinator or anything. I would say you would want to go with someone who's been a head coach at a big school before. Maybe like a Butch Davis.
Whoa, now we're talking, boys.
Yeah, I'm just throwing.
You don't want to go with the hot coordinator? You don't want Gene Chizik?
God damn you! That was it. Chizik, look at him coaching him up. God damn it. I want him to go somewhere and win 3 games a year again. I miss it.
I don't think so. I think
Gene Chizik, Miami?
Bad, yeah, that's got about a year and a half written all over right there. Yep.
Anyway, sorry. What you go back to what you were saying about Minnesota?
No, I think you would. I think they would be better suited since the program seems to be, Jerry Kill got them out of. He built this program back up. So now I think you need someone that's going to be able to minimally sustain where they're at right now and try and get them up over that edge. So either look towards someone like Temple, Fuentes there at Memphis, or get someone who's already been a head coach who can keep up that level of excellence. I don't think you want to go with a coordinator, but that's just my thought. I'm sure Marcus would add, what are your thoughts? I guess.
What if we go completely opposite and we say, I forget his name, but Art Briles' son, who's the offensive coordinator at Baylor?
I could maybe go for that.
I just said that because that's like schematically the absolute opposite of what Minnesota does already, and obviously his coordinator does not have any head coaching experience.
I wouldn't even touch probably a Big 12 for sure not a Big 12 defensive coordinator because those don't exist. But
Iowa State's pitching shutouts left and right.
Yeah, Mark Mangino's available. He just got from Iowa State. Although, actually, all jokes aside, Mark Mangino made Kansas good at football.
Yeah, he did.
And then they fired him because they went 5-7. They said, that's not good enough for us, Mangino. And Kansas has not even come close to winning 5 games in a season since then.
Would you want an offensive guy? Last year they had David Cobb. He was very good. This year, running game not as good. Quarterback sucks.
They do have younger running backs, though. I think you give them next year. I'm willing to give the Georgia boys another year before I completely write them off.
Defense is good. Mr. Schottenkirk, Mr. Traxler, I believe, has mentioned Scott Frost earlier in the week. Nebraska quarterback. Oregon offensive coordinator. It would seem like the getting would be getting good to get off that Oregon ship right now. We'll see what happens next year with them.
Okay.
But he's a guy with that offense. So
He is a guy.
he's a guy. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, high scoring game of the year. Jesus Christ, with the points scored in this game. And they were scored early by Texas Tech, and they were scored late by Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State still undefeated with a big game versus TCU this week. Florida, they're going to clinch the East when they beat Vanderbilt. Florida defense is very good. Their quarterback is just awful. It's a shame the kid got suspended because this Harris kid is the shits. So
Treon Harris is not great for Florida.
And Georgia.
And the problem is he might have to start the first 5 or 6 games next year.
Oh,
for
my God.
Florida until the other guy. I don't know. Supposedly he can appeal that, and maybe he could be starting at the start of next year. For his sake and for Florida's sake, I hope he can start at the beginning of next year.
Listen, they had tryouts with all the students for kicking position. Why not do it again for quarterbacks? See what works out.
Well, if they had that freshman, I'd say they're a legitimate national title contender, and they can beat LSU or Alabama in the SEC title game. That'd be
next week.
Huh? Yeah, really. I would really like to see a Florida LSU rematch. First game was closer than I thought. Much more high scoring than I thought, and I would be okay watching that game again.
This is the first time Florida's been kind of interesting to watch since like 2009.
Since that Tebow fellow did things. Speaking of Tebow's coach, Urban Meyer coaches Ohio State, and now their quarterback is suspended for next week because he's a stupid shit.
Side note on that. I heard somewhere that, like, when he went to prison and he was, like, he had to call somebody to pick him up or whatever, or to help bail him out, he called Cardale Jones.
Nice.
Now, the interesting thing is if you're Cardale Jones, you're in a situation where you can be like, you know what? Maybe I let this guy hang out in prison for a few days, and, you know, maybe it'll be easy for me to take back the starting job.
Amazingly dumb. Operating while intoxicated, amazingly stupid. How do you even comprehend a guy this stupid? I thought Jameis Winston was dumb. He is. He's very dumb. He's still the dumbest of all time. Right up there with Adrian Peterson. But how stupid do you have to be to do something like this?
Wait, who was that Dallas Cowboys defense end? That Josh Brent or?
Yep. Killed his teammate. Yep.
Amazing. You could throw him up there too.
I think of recent dumb stuff. I don't remember the guy's name, but last week after the Oklahoma State lady, there was some Oklahoma State player that got a DUI like 2 days later. So I think it's safe to throw that guy in there as well.
I'd say throw him to the top.
I don't even know how that happens, for Christ's sake. I don't know how it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me how, I mean, you shouldn't get one, period, no matter who you are. I understand stupid people that, you know, are just regular 21-year-old guy, like, oh, I don't want my car down there, so I get ticketed. No, I shouldn't say I understand. He still shouldn't do it. But, I mean, like, does he not think that, like, any of his offensive linemen would be like, oh, my quarterback needs me to pick him up? No, I'm not going to do that. It's like, nope, actually, you kind of have to go do it. I mean, he could have had any of the coaches. I mean, Urban Meyer might not have gone to pick him up. He would have called a different coach to do it. But any of their coaches would have done it. Any of the GAs would have done it. Any of the players would have done it.
Hell,
probably, yeah, like anybody. Now, you can run into things where, like, if you're a student, like maybe you don't want the publicity of, you know, this guy I don't know that well giving me a ride home. But that would probably still be better than getting a DUI.
Call John Tortorella. He'll do it.
Good Lord.
Jim Tressel would have driven from Youngstown, Ohio, to Columbus to give him a ride if he would have called and asked them to.
I would like to commend the Columbus Police Department, though, for having some morals and not trying to cover this up like a police department down there in Tallahassee. Good for them, not just letting this guy go off the hook.
Chris Carter said you needed a fall guy. How about you get a designated driver guy? Say walk-on shithead guy. Your job's to drive home underage quarterback guy from his night of underage drinking home. That's your job.
I mean, like all the football. I mean, I can't say all of them. There's always some football players that are smart on teams. Judging by his actions, maybe J.T. Barrett isn't. But I mean, he could even have like a tutor, one of his tutors or something, or someone's tutor give him a ride home.
M-Traxxer DDS joins the program. Yes, so that's unbelievable how stupid a man can be. The playoff will be released here in 48 hours. Seems that Ohio State, Clemson, Baylor are your teams in there, with LSU being that fourth. Charlie, any difference that you would expect, or your personal list?
What were your four again?
Seems like Ohio State, Clemson, and Baylor are pretty much there, and the fourth one maybe being a LSU.
I mean, I think I would agree. I think you could make a case that Baylor will not be there because of their now quarterback neck injury problems. But I think I would agree that those seem like a reasonable top four to start with.
Mr. Trax, are those top four? TCU maybe the best team left out. Do you expect any different than those four?
Nope. I would say Ohio State's going to be somewhere in the top four. If not, I would maybe think that Clemson's going to be number one. Baylor could be number one, and LSU should be in there. So,
good. Your reaction, Mr. Traxxer, to the Minnesota finish? What the hell were they doing? Seems like you got to get up there and get a playoff within a second or two.
It was terrible, and it was indicative of what I've seen for the first however many games they played, 7 games now, where it seems like they'll go from one play to the next and look like two completely different teams. It's mind-blowing that you would have – I mean, whatever they were shifting from to just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And a good way to burn off 15 seconds or however much time was burned off. Didn't surprise me because this is kind of what happens when you're the Gophers.
I like that they went for the win.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when you already had a basic disaster that you gave away 15 seconds like that, I think hindsight would certainly say just kick the field goal and take your chances in overtime. But at the time, I liked going for the win too, so I guess I can live with that now. And I thought that it was I just didn't like a sneak with Leidner. I thought that was a pretty uncreative play call.
And Michigan could not move the ball with their second string, third string quarterback.
Right, that would be the rationale for take your chances in overtime with a redshirt freshman quarterback or whatever he was. And especially since I liked how they interviewed him after the game. He really had nothing to do with them winning, so that was funny.
How did they move the ball on that offense or on that defense? Michigan, greatest defense of all time.
I mean, they threw the ball pretty well. For all the grief we give Leidner, they had a decent running game. Leidner ran the ball well, which, I mean, we forget that he's supposed to be I think he's supposed to be the running quarterback. I guess I get him all confused at this stage. But that's something he's always done pretty well. And it just felt like they had kind of abandoned that this season. So he got back to that a little bit and had a little bit more success.
This was his Ponder versus the Packers game to get in the playoffs, the game of his life, which, if you break it down, it was a fine game. It wasn't great. It was good. He completed like half his passes. He had that one tipped pass that the Michigan guy tipped it. Minnesota caught it for like a 30-yard pass. He played good. This was a game of his life. So.
I don't think it really changes anything long-term about the way I feel about him or the Gophers' offense.
So he's still a fourth-round pick?
A fourth-round pick in Major League Football, an upstart
Omaha
league
Beef.
Apparently is
Omaha
being
Beef.
started.
He's going to be the best H-back in the NFL in 4 years.
Yeah, he's got Marquise Gray written all over him. H-back for the Colts.
I thought Marquise Gray's 19 plays he played for the Vikings over 4 games last year was great.
He was a great addition to the team.
I mean, he
Very
really added.
important addition.
I don't know what he added, but it was something. Is what it was.
He added diversity. Another black guy.
That's right. Minnesota's 4-4. I believe we all think they lose to Ohio State and Iowa. That gives them 6 losses. We think they can beat Illinois. That would give them 5. That brings it down to the Wisconsin game at home. Wisconsin, one of their worst teams in a while. I believe it's going to come down to Wisconsin for the bowl eligibility. Yes or no?
Seems like that way. I wouldn't cross out them playing well against Iowa. I think we all kind of feel like Iowa shouldn't be an undefeated team, and that game's been scheduled for a night game for a long time.
Good.
Very rare that you have a night game in November now, but
The Big Ten.
Big Ten has sort of loosened those rules, and I do think it's probably going to come down to that game for the Axe, and since Minnesota hasn't beaten Wisconsin in 10-some years, this is your chance if you ever wanted to get that thing back, because Wisconsin is a very unspectacular team. So, and it's at home. It's the game you got to win.
And I had said maybe they get in.
Although it does sound like, according to Brett McMurphy, and for
Yes.
also subpar, very subpar Nebraska team, it sounds like they're going to have to take some 5-7 teams this year to fill out some bowls.
Nebraska's not getting to 5-7.
4-8 they'll get in. I said earlier.
I don't know
maybe-
if they're getting to 4-8. I don't think if you can't beat fucking Purdue, I don't know how you're going to beat Rutgers.
Well, they got that great quarterback.
Can you fire a coach after 1 year? I don't know. We'll find out in a month or so.
I would say if he's 3-9, there's a good chance he gets canned.
Why not?
Maybe not good's the right word, but
Prior
better
to yesterday, I
Well,
didn't like him, but I was like, you know what? You can't fire him after 1 year. After yesterday, though, it's now. I mean, I'm not saying he will, but it's not absolutely no chance it's going to happen anymore. Because it would be Nebraska's worst season since I looked it up. I think since 1957, if they go 3-9.
Said it was a bad hire at the time. Still is.
And it's one of what they've lost 5 games by like 13 points. So they could. I mean,
they've had the heartbreakers. There's no doubt about that. I mean,
that's disappointing.
None of them to teams that were really any good, though.
BYU was good for like 2 minutes, and then the quarterback.
They lost to Miami, who has fired their head coach. They lost to Illinois, who had already fired their coach and had an interim coach. And they lost to Purdue, who's going to fire their head coach in about a month.
And they lost to Minnesota, who has a new coach right now. So
actually, they beat Minnesota. I don't know. That was
what
weird.
the hell happened there?
They did. Yeah, and
wow.
In the triumvirate of college football not making sense, Nebraska beats Minnesota by 20 points. Minnesota beats Purdue by like 30 points. And then Purdue beats Nebraska by 10 and scores 55.
How was the backup quarterback? A lot of touchdowns, a lot of interceptions, lots of passes because they were down the whole game. Is he a guy?
He threw for 400 yards, but it turns out the walk-on white kid from Grand Island, Nebraska, is probably not the long-term answer going forward. It turns out that Tommy Armstrong hurt was still probably better than the honky walk-on.
Lots of games this week for our pick'em. They will not be hard to pick. Baylor at Kansas State. Baylor gets to play a football team that's worth the shit, even though Kansas isn't all that good. Thursday night, we know how that goes. Duke at Carolina takes some of the luster off of that game.
Still, this is the biggest Duke-Carolina game since like 3 years ago when they were both good in basketball.
Unbelievable. Duke and Carolina. Notre Dame, the gauntlet continues at Pitt. Pitt? Who won that game? Carolina or Pitt?
Carolina beat Pitt.
Well, in that game, lose at 6-2. Terrific there. Stanford at Colorado at noon. Your Buffs Traxxer got a noon start.
Let's go. Get it going.
Earliest Pac-12 start in a decade since Masoli was there. Florida State at Clemson. Florida State had to shit their bed versus GodTech 2 weeks ago, so that game doesn't matter. TCU at Oklahoma State. We're getting in this Big 12 now. I'm sure that over-under is going to be around 100. Navy at 6-1. Our Navy squad. Ram parts we washed at Memphis. Memphis unspectacular early versus Tulane. Utah at Washington. We'll see what happens there. And the granddaddy of them all, LSU 9, Alabama 6, part 12, field goals aplenty. And my upset special of the week, similar to Rutgers, Ohio State 2 weeks ago, which was a very close game within 5 touchdowns. I like the perfect season of the Hawkeyes to end at the end of the Hoosiers, Indiana over Iowa. Give it to me.
Would anything be funnier?
So
Probably, but it would still be funny.
Yes. I mean, anybody.
I think I would say I think it would be interesting to see if maybe we don't even have Alabama and LSU play. We just have Leonard Fournette and Derrick Henry have like a gladiator fight at midfield, and whoever wins, the team wins the game.
Good.
You got to stay on the midfield logo. If you leave the logo without killing the other person, you lose.
Ultimate sumo is what it is. A lot of games, Mr. Stacken. Any games stick out for you? Which ones are you gonna be watching?
There's no doubt LSU, Alabama, prime time down there in Tuscaloosa. Gary Danielson, Vern Lundquist. They have a call on CBS.
They're not calling it. It's gonna be Steve Tasker and Steve Berline. Off the biggest game of the year.
The Steves.
They will be calling the 2:30 game that CBS will throw at us, which is. Let me pull that up here. It will be.
Brent Musburger has a permanent residence in Kentucky. He's called every Kentucky game this year.
Well, it turns out there's some hot co-eds at Kentucky you wanted to keep talking about during the game.
It's close to Louisville, Charlie. It's too close to Louisville.
That's the game that
Mississippi, Arkansas. You're getting hard in Mississippi, Arkansas. 2:30 will start on the CBS.
No, just
Mississippi still controls their own destiny. If they win out, they're playing in the SEC title game.
And they did sweep the Alabama schools this year, so kudos to them.
Yeah, they're not.
That seemed like a bigger deal going into the year. I mean, it's still a big deal to beat Alabama, but obviously Auburn sucks. I don't know. I still think Clemson and Florida State's interesting just because Clemson hasn't won in a few years now, and they're sort of like
do it.
Can they get the monkey off their back? I mean, I think they will, but
please.
I mean, would we be completely shocked if like the Florida State defense came to play and it was like a low-scoring game in the teens or low 20s in the middle of the fourth quarter?
No,
not at all. Seems plausible.
And if that happens, then well, I mean, Clemson will probably win on an Everett Golson turnover then. If he's back in play, I don't know if he's back.
Yeah. And the Pick'em, Schottenkirk still leads. Me and somebody's within 5. I think Garrick or somebody's within 4. Marcus had a perfect week in week 9, so there's so perfect weeks out there. Ooh, look at this! Look at this!
I didn't know that actually. I hadn't looked at the scoring.
And who the hell's up first in the picks? Charlie, I think you had 4 wrong. I think.
Yep.
And we're kind of to the point now where you get a lot of stuff decided for you in the conference picks. So, I mean, actually, maybe it works well going first now. I'll get first pick on everything.
Big 12.
We'll see if I don't screw this up.
Big 12, everybody has to pick a certain team because there's 10 teams. This is week 10.
I get Texas, and they play Kansas this week. Lucky me.
You mother effer. And then next week, everybody will start anew again in the Big 12. So we'll have about 4 weeks here. You can pick TCU and Baylor again. And you might want to avoid those teams in that final game of the year. So.
The fun thing is the way that works out is like we get all the Big 12 teams back to pick, like literally right as the schedule picks up, and there's not going to be a whole lot of really easy ones to pick.
No.
I mean, I'm sure Kansas and Iowa State, but like all the other teams are playing conference opponents.
And Baylor against Texas last game of the year, so you probably want to pick Baylor in week 14, week 15. So lots of good games next week per usual. So, there you go.
Close the book on college football.
Close the book. Open the baseball book. World Series. End this fucking thing. I'm sick of you, Kansas City. Enough of you, you lucky bastards. Noah Syndergaard, that was exciting. Game 4, 2 nights ago. Almost hit Escobar in the head. Everybody laughed. Everybody liked it. Game 3. You okay with that, Marcus? Seemed like the Mets did what they were supposed to do. Kansas City responded accordingly. Is that about it?
Ship shape. That's it right there. That should about wrap it up. If we get some residual effect in Game 5, I will be fine with that. Let's fight. I don't care. It's World Series. And the unwritten rules of baseball are stupid.
I think someone on this sports lounge called for Kansas City to win in 5 games also.
That's probably Charlie Hildebrand, probably.
It was.
What are you rooting for tonight?
So I'm rooting for Kansas City.
Game 1, Edison Volquez pitched. His dad died that day before the game. He said that he did not know. So we know that he did not know. Fox did not broadcast that to the world until after he was out of the game, which probably a good decision on their part. Probably his wife said, "Do not tell this man that his dad has died." So Edison Volquez, tough deal there. 5-4 Royals win. Game took a little over 5 hours. Long as hell. 5-4 win. Good game there. Also, Game 1, there was a bit of a technical issue. Fox was off the air for a time, and they stopped the game. And then you got the international broadcast, which I had no idea was a thing, but with John Smoltz and Matt Vasgersian, who are 1,000 times better than the jokers they have calling the regular game. And then they kick him out of the booth. These 3 assholes, well, 2 assholes and Joe Buck come in and kick him out of the game. I was kind of surprised that this happened. Were you?
Joe Buck will fight a dude. I mean, it comes down to that. It's that simple. And, I suppose Fox pays a lot of money to make sure that they are the ones who are airing the game. And they probably just told him to beat off. And
they should pay for more money for better equipment then.
Or have a backup truck. How about that?
How about a backup generator? How about making you run down to the old Home Depot and buy yourself a generator, or have somebody guarding the power source. Pay somebody $9 an hour.
Yeah.
But I was I knew there was an international feed. I knew that Gary Thorne used to do the international play-by-play in the World Series, and
why can't they just use the Fox feed?
I don't know. I suppose I don't know.
Different ads.
If you're broadcasting to communist China, you got to hear from a World Series pitcher. So those are the rules. China's laid those rules out, made it very clear in their communist dealings that we only want guys who have been there. Harold Reynolds was never there. Tom Verducci never there. So they've laid that out. The international feed, that's what they want.
Have you enjoyed the series, Stacking?
Oh, I'll be honest.
Have you watched an inning? Under an inning?
Yeah, no, I've watched probably collectively, I would say, 12 to 13 innings.
That's not bad.
Not
They got the
for me.
Newport Market in there.
I've done like 6 or 7.
Well, we're combined. We're getting close to a couple games here, so that's good.
I watched like 4 innings in Game 1 when I got home from work, and then it went 14, I think, and it was in the 13th inning, and I was like, man, this has gone too long. I think I'm gonna go to bed. And then literally, I found out the next day that they scored not very long after that.
I turned off Game 1 I think it was right after the Mets were done in the top of the 9th.
Sixth inning, you said. That's enough.
No, I was in the 9th.
It's not softball. They go the full 9.
Well, Stackin said earlier he's got no problem turning off games when he thinks they're over in college football, so why would he have a problem with it in baseball either?
Because the Royals, they never come back from deficits. They never come back.
I was in Game 1 watching from the office. Had written in a little blurb about how this game was not finished before press time, and just as I was about to send that page back to the printer, they got the run scored, so I quick changed that line, put the final score in there, and then sent her back. So good timing by those Royals to get that run scored to save hundreds, tens of readers from being disappointed.
When the Royals win the World Series, is Lord going to be the Grand Marshal?
Lord!
I don't think Lord knows where Missouri's at.
No, she made the song, because she saw George Brett.
Even though the song
in Vegas.
No, he wasn't shitting his pants in Vegas. Bam, bam, bam. like signing autographs, some picture like in the 80s signing autographs. Like, look at this goddamn King of Memphis here, George Brett, the pants shitter himself. And you got a top grossing song out of it. So there you go.
He's the king.
Now,
He's a royal.
What song do they play? I mean, obviously, if the Mets would win, if the Yankees win, they'll play New York, New York. What would Kansas City play if they would do it at home?
They have to play Lords Royals. They have to.
Do they have to?
It has nothing to do with baseball or winning anything, really.
Could they just play "We Are the Champions" by Queen?
I think that would work. That's what every champion for the last 30 years has played.
Don't go with the crowd. Think outside the bun. Think outside the box.
Would you be surprised?
Why can't we be friends? They could play that.
Why can't we be friends?
They used to play. Friends in Low Places during the 7th inning or 8th inning as
in
a
Kansas
sing-along
City
song at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Yeah, and then they quit doing that either last year or 2 years ago. That's when they started winning. So maybe once they get the monkey off their back, then they can play it again.
That's because all the friends were hiding because the Royals were terrible going into the 7th inning for so many years.
Yeah.
Royals, they could play the Gold Digger song, maybe?
I like that.
Or na hey hey goodbye, because they'll say goodbye to Johnny Cueto and
Cueto done.
And Alex Gordon and other players.
I mean, it works for both ways because you're saying goodbye to the Mets and goodbye to your free agents that you have no shot at signing.
They still got.
Is there a
Sal
song
Perez.
that plays like when the Queen walks in? She's a royal. They could play that song, but I don't know if the
Well,
Queen has a song or not.
The Macho Man, Pomp and Circumstance, or whatever it is. Pomp and what is it?
There we go. There we go. I like that.
The graduation song.
I would say that the MVP of this series, of these playoffs, really, Edison Volquez's hairline.
Ned Yost.
Ned Yost, no.
Is it worse than James Brown? James Brown has something like that going on. He's like 65 though, so.
Yeah, he's got an excuse.
I disagree.
Brown.
I think the MVP is the gif of Traxler's George Brett.
I mean, that's the gift really of the season, right up there with the parrot for Toronto.
If Cueto were to pitch again and pitch another gem like he did, he might get it. I think Escobar would be the favorite now. Is that like a 14-game hitting streak or something like that? Didn't he win the ALCS MVP as well, Escobar?
Something like that, yeah.
So he might win that.
Eduardo Escobar?
Yeah, Ed Escobar. Let's talk announcers.
No.
Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Entertains me. He's not doing the pregame for the rest of the year because he's got to sign autographs in Las Vegas, which I'm fine with. And I don't really like that story, but it's true.
I read about it and everything. Like, I heard the news, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's definitely signing autographs in Las Vegas. And it's actually confirmed. Yeah, that's what he's doing. And now I've heard that story now for like the 4th or 5th time today, and I laugh hard every time.
At no time when you hear that story, you're like, nope, that's not true. You're like, yes, that is true.
That is exactly why that's happening.
And he wonders why he can't get back in the baseball.
Well,
To be fair, I kind of thought taking off time to prepare for his Royal Rumble appearance at the next WWE Royal Rumble.
I'd be okay with that.
Didn't he do that like 4 times or something like that, or was it just once?
It was a WrestleMania in Philadelphia, and then he came back the next year, and then it was like a Royal Rumble the year after. It was like 3 appearances. So it was very funny every time. He dressed up as the San Diego Chicken, I want to say, maybe. It was very good. If you have not seen it, Pete Rose, WWE, very, very good.
Which at the time, like a Pete Rose in his late 50s, getting body slammed and stuff.
Getting tombstoned by Kane. It was very funny. And he had that thing during the delay during Game 6, the rain delay, with just terrific. Just the best thing of all time. The picture of him going into the picture, his face. Probably the highlight of my year. Was just that little bit right there.
My favorite. That's what I like about this digital age is that we're all watching the World Series, and you can see a meme be made in real time. Like you see that right away, and you're like, "Yep, that's going to be all over the internet in about 2 minutes." And it was.
That's what I was going to say. There's lots of bad stuff in social media, but it's fun when all of a sudden you can hit. When I was at work, I can hit. Oh, there's 9 new tweets, and I can click that, and then see 8 of them where you see Pete Rose doing this, leaning in on some important thing in fiction or in U.S. history.
NBA TNT has the best pregame, postgame studio, and it seems like Fox every year just changes guys in and out. And Pete Rose at 75. Hopefully he's back. Frank Thomas, he's good. Alex Rodriguez, Mr. Traxler, is very good.
I haven't watched a ton of. I've watched even less pregame than I've watched World Series. But I have been
during the game.
Huh?
They even bring him in like during the game for like
I've caught 1 or 2 of those, yeah, and I like that. He's very knowledgeable. There was an article that I saw today that I didn't read, but I just saw sort of the headline that he's really done quite the job this year of rehabbing his image through the media. I think he went on Mike Francesa's show earlier this year. He's been kind of fairly open. Obviously, if he survived the New York media for a whole season, he must be in a position where he feels relatively comfortable, and I'm guessing that he'd probably want to make this a career of some sort. I mean, MLB Network did hire him. Their stable's pretty shitty right now. So
what are you talking about?
Dan Plesac.
Yeah, he's not the best. He's not.
Eric Burns.
I like Eric Burns.
I think he has ADHD, but yeah, he's decent.
He's good. I think they got to go. I think they got
A-Rod better than I expected. That's how I'd sum him up. Better than I expected.
He's definitely becoming less of a villain. I like that. That's good news.
To be honest, in life, I mean, that's not a bad way to have people describe you. And they're like, you know what? Better than I thought. I mean, that's not bad.
I wonder if he's up there and he looks over at A-Rod and he's like, or looks over at Pete Rose and like, I don't want to be a jackass like him. Like, let me get this cleaned up while I have this chance right now. I've been a kind of a shitty guy for a long time, but let's get this fixed here before I go off and people, I don't know. I don't know if people are going to cross him out from the Hall of Fame or not.
He's not getting in.
He's probably not getting in. So repair that image while you got a chance here.
It's all like the greatest of all time are not in. Alex Rodriguez, Bonds, Clemens, like the best of all time. Pete Rose, most hits ever, not in.
I really think that, not that we need to get into the whole Hall of Fame thing right now, but
give me your 2017 ballot right now.
Like they're just gonna say we have to acknowledge this era. You can't just cross out 15 years of history and say, oh yeah, we're not gonna let those guys in. So
if you're an executive at Fox, why did you pick the 2 analysts that you did? Specifically Harold Reynolds.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
This is year 2, Charlie. This is year 2. You can't fire a coach after 1 year. You can fire an analyst after 2. It hasn't gotten any better. It's gotten bad. Why? What are they looking at that I'm not looking at? What am I missing here? That this guy's the best, should be the best. World Series. What does he bring?
Well, is he better than McCarver?
No. He's the worst I've ever heard. The worst. He makes shit up.
Oh.
I honestly really don't want to talk about it. Like he's terrible.
Give me something.
They got to get him off the air, but it's been well reported that the Fox people like him a lot.
Why?
So I don't know why.
I'm sticking with my first thought. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Apparently.
Give me something that he made up.
Well, it's 7:22 now. The All-Star game last year, it started. Max Scherzer, pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, made the All-Star game last year.
I think I remember we talked about this.
This stupid asshole says he's coming in relief. He's used to this. He was with Arizona to start his career. He closed games for Arizona. This never happened. He started with Arizona for a year. He's never in his life come out of relief.
In your life.
In your life.
Well, maybe
Not once. Nor was he the closer for the Diamondbacks. Where the hell was this?
maybe there's a closer with a name similar to Max Scherzer.
Who the hell is named Scherzer? Nobody. Example 2. Toronto Blue Jays series.
I just needed one. I wasn't.
No, you need more.
I didn't say that. I didn't trust.
I've read
him.
all
I wanted
these
to know
already.
something that he
I
did.
know you've read them. Now you can hear them in audio form.
I don't want to hear him. I'm sick of it.
Mute
Like,
yourself.
he's terrible.
Mute me.
Done. I'm done, man.
Examples: Game 6, or Game 5 or 6. Alex Rios steals second. He says, didn't expect him to steal. He stole like 35 to 40 bases 2 years ago. He's got like 250 stolen bases in his career. He didn't expect him to run. He was surprised that a guy that had 30 stolen bases a year ago ran. The hell are you talking about? Amazing.
I'm glad we all have things we're passionate about.
Tom Verducci, awful as well, not as bad, but awful. Do you buy into this thing? Harold Reynolds makes a point that you don't want to give the guy a look at you. They shouldn't have brought Wade Davis in during the blowout in game 1. It was a tie game. They didn't like him going in there because you get to look at him. You get to look at this guy. Does that matter at all?
No. We have literally thousands of hours of tape on all these guys. Every pitch they throw now is broken down. How fast he threw it, how much it broke, where it came through the plate, what the count was, what the batter was. Every scenario is laid out, and that's how you have these heat maps. You have all these different stats. That is the dumbest thing I've heard.
I do like that they're bringing in Wade Davis for 6-inning saves. Familia has a chance at 6-inning saves. I like this. This makes sense. You do it in the World Series, maybe do it a handful of times in the regular season. Verducci said last night, Familia came in, gave up the lead in the 8th. He says you can't bring him back because you're down 2 in the 9th, but if they do tie it up, you do bring him back because I have no idea why. So if he's your best pitcher, he should be out there. Regardless if it's tied, if you're up 2, if you're down 2, you need to get outs. So, awful.
Are you going worst announcers just in baseball or in all of them?
I've never heard anybody worse than this. This is the worst.
Have you ever heard Skip Bayless?
Did you listen to the game?
Skip
today
Bayless
with Chris
isn't
Myers?
He doesn't.
Announcer, yeah.
Skip Bayless is a character. He's a fictional character on a television show. He doesn't count.
And he doesn't call games.
We're talking about real life.
Chris Myers. Have you heard of him?
He's fine. He's fine.
No,
he doesn't make mistakes like Dick
He
Stockton.
makes a lot of mistakes. He called the Bears wide receiver Marcus Mariani. I don't think that's his name. Pretty sure it's just Mark.
It's Marcus Mariota.
As somebody who goes by Marcus and has been called Mark, I understand the difference.
Mark Mariani.
I switched over to Red Zone during the timeout today, and they were on the Browns and the Cardinals game, and whoever was announcing for the game
CBS?
sounded like a complete robot. He's like someone you would hear on the radio. No emotion at all. I think that McCown got the snap. Carson got the snap, and he said, "Palmer gets the snap. Pass to Fitzgerald, incomplete."
I would rather have that than misinformation and made up shit.
Chris Myers said that the Vikings were playing the Bucks today.
Well, they were.
Just for fun, Corinz, let's go with. So clearly, you got Harold Reynolds as the worst, and if you're going to keep Verducci in there, you can have a 2-team color commentator. That's fine. Who's your worst play-by-play person and your worst sideline analyst in all of sports to team up with these people to do the worst sporting event ever?
Harold Reynolds is the Christian Ponder of life, is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of his wife either. Not a big fan. Not watching that. I didn't like Joe Buck. He's fine now. It's not like he's gotten better, but everybody else has gotten so much worse. So he looks a lot better with.
He's gotten better.
Like
everybody said that he wouldn't like get excited for the big moments, but that's not the case anymore. You hear him yell like quite a bit on the games now.
And there was a case there where he told fucking Verducci and Reynolds off on a play at first base the other night, where the runner was out. Did you hear this at all or not?
I didn't hear it.
This was tremendous. I wish I could just listen to this all day. Hosmer was off the base. He was called safe. They reviewed it. He was safe. It was clear his foot was off the base. And old dipshit Tweedledum and Tweedledoo go up there and say, "Oh, look at this. It's close. You want to review it?" And he's like, "No. His foot's off the base. Look." Very sternly, "Look, you dumb shit." That wasn't even worth the review. Joe Buck could just say, "Look, his foot's off. Shut the fuck up." So that was fun. Worst play-by-play guy? Damn. I mean, Dick Stockton's pretty bad. Dick Stockton would be there. And sideline. I mean, they're all pretty bad. Coach, talk about it. Get some pointers from Doris Burke to know what the hell to do with your job.
As I have pointed out, one of my least favorite pairs right now, Mike Patrick, Ed Cunningham.
I like it.
They're just like the stodgy. I'm blanking on the name here. They're like Statler and Waldorf to a certain extent.
I like it.
They're just
like the old guys in the Muppets.
Yep.
I would agree. I do not like more so Cunningham, but I agree that I'm not a huge fan of either.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us.
No, we need a more smoky, gravelly voice.
And then Ed Cunningham going, "Did you know that 4 weeks ago there was a penalty in the second quarter of this 6-touchdown blowout that was the key catalyst of what started it all off?"
There's really no college football announcers that I dislike.
Those are the. I would say that if each were on their own, they'd have a better chance. But those two together, man, it's like, I don't know. It's something.
Branderson, home run.
It's home run ball.
Kansas City. Oh, he threw it right. He threw it right. Let's get shit-faced Moustakis out there to call him an MFer. Says, "Fuck you." No, "Fuck you" is what he's going to say. That was a lot closer to hit him in the head than the other pitch was.
I like how I said damning earlier and you said clean up the language. Now
Clean up the
Hey, Stackin', watch your fucking mouth.
Jesus. Stack and go to church, please.
Take me to church, I worship.
Okay.
No.
No. Torrey Hunter retired. Good decision there for him.
Good call. You're old.
Again, why?
You got a kid playing football at Notre Dame. That means you're too old. Wrap it up.
Why
Julio Franco is still playing in Japan somewhere.
Jesus Christ, Julio Franco. He's got to be 55.
It was a sideshow.
Why the Twins want him back as a player? His production sharply decreased. Logic would say it would decrease even more. There's no spot for him.
Kind of like Kevin Garnett coming back to the Timberwolves.
Well, if he's going to accept $5 million or whatever Garnett gets, that's fine. The thing with Hunter, I mean, you got to play him somewhere. You just can't waste a roster spot on him. With Garnett, old man, he can play half the games. He can sit on the bench. He can be a coach. You can have a spot or two on a baseball team just to be a guy, or a basketball team just to be the.
They call it the Mike Miller.
Mike Miller, Meth Miller, the Brian Scalabrine of the bunch is what you can do. So. Also, wrapping it up, first week of the NBA season, Golden State Warriors, Curry, 53 last night, very impressive, 40 a few nights ago. Oklahoma City and the Magic played a 3 overtime game. That's the best game of the season so far, 5 days in. Lakers suck. Timberwolves, very exciting. Mr. Sacken.
2-0 with both wins on the road to begin the season. That's the first time that's ever happened in franchise history.
2-0 on the road to start the year?
Yep, and when they've opened up the season on the road, like the first 2 games, they've never started out 2-0 before. They've done that now. Kudos to them.
Tony Towns, good.
Carl.
He's very good.
I was just going to ask, what was the name that we came up with that was going to be his nickname? I couldn't remember. It's Tony.
Carl
I was thinking it was
Anthony
maybe
Towns.
Cal. Instead of Carl, we were calling him
Nah.
Cal.
Carl
Carl.
Anthony Towns. Pick a name.
Carl.
Pick a name.
Why can't we just pick Carl?
We're going with the Drew Amon approved shortening of the names, not using
No,
your actual.
he's not on this show.
He's somewhere.
No, he's not anything.
He's
He's writing sponsored tweets for Coors Light.
show emeritus member.
There you go. Is that what they give the title when the guy retires?
And for the athletic directors, the athletic director emeritus. I guess that's what Drew is.
He hasn't earned
Sports Lounge emeritus.
Tony Towns, that's what I'm always going to call him, so he looks really good. Playing teams back-to-back so early. Warriors.
Don't care.
Warriors and Pelicans played twice already. It's happened a couple other times. Clippers, Kings played twice. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You're playing
Play a team 4 times in a row and then be done with them.
Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. NBA, I mean, anything excite you, or are you going to check in like at Christmas?
I saw I think last night that Steph Curry's got like the most, or not the most, but like the 4th or 5th most points through the first 3 games, like ever, or something like that. But generally, I don't truly crank up basketball until football season's over.
If they get to a Game 6, I'll watch a Game 6 of the finals, if they do. I got Spurs over Cleveland again, my usual Red Wings, Penguins pick. Stacking what
You cannot do that.
I can't do what?
You can't do Red Wings over Penguins.
Well.
You can do that for the Eastern Conference Finals. You cannot do that for your Stanley
Eastern
Cup.
Conference Finals every year. When they get these,
you can maybe take Charlie's Sharks.
well, when they get these 8 expansion teams in there, they'll have more realignment. They'll have 5 different leagues, and they'll be back to normal again.
Quebec City.
Quebec City versus
Kansas City.
versus the Bakken oil fields of North Dakota. What did you have, Stack? And you had Miami or Cleveland versus who?
San Antonio with the Spurs winning.
You have the same as me.
Yep.
Marcus picks
Oklahoma City and Cleveland. Cleveland winning the title.
Charlie.
Clippers, Cleveland.
Jesus.
Cleveland winning.
Cleveland, couple of Clevelands, couple of San Antonios. Let's say LeBron James dies. Who would be the second team out of the East?
Washington.
I don't know. Maybe they just take another team out of the West.
This is stupid. It won't happen, but I'll say Chicago.
I don't know. I want to say something different, but I think I'm going to agree with
Say
Stack
Washington.
on
Go
Washington.
Detroit. Go with your Detroit squad. Marcus, you got Van Gundy.
Yeah.
Van Gundy!
Form a fucking wall. Please.
Man, so much profanity. This is
Detroit.
going to get an R rating. This is going to get an NC-17.
NC-17, you can't watch it because they said fuck. And finally, it was Halloween yesterday, Stacking. You said you had a costume,
At a costume.
but you did not get it, so give it to the Goodwill.
Well, you know what? I was actually down in Brookings, so everywhere I went, I just said I had my SDSU sweatshirt on, so I just said I'm a Fargonian disguised in SDSU gear.
You're
It was
one of those
undercover.
illegals?
Poor.
Yeah, one of the illegals. Yep.
You border crosser?
Yep.
Sneaking through the fence. You can see this hole in the fence. That's where he got through. That's where everybody's getting through.
What was the last thing everybody went for as Halloween? Whether it was like last year or 6 years ago or 15 years ago.
It's been so goddamn long. I don't.
It was a few years ago. The last thing, God, I don't know. It was when I was still living in that house in Brookings. I went as Magnum PI. I grew a mustache. I had a Hawaiian T-shirt, and I borrowed a roommate's Detroit Tigers hat, and I went as Magnum PI.
Did you have an authentic mustache?
It was a mustache. It wasn't a great mustache. Like, you could see it, and see it was one. It was not fluffy and well-groomed or anything.
How long did you
Like,
know
it was
you
better
were
than
gonna
a
do this?
pedophile one, but not great. Well, basically, I just did what I've always done. I just didn't shave for like a month, and then just like the day before went, well, I'm going to shave and just not shave my mustache off. And then I shaved the next day after Halloween.
And you knew you were going to do that?
Yeah.
Like a month.
Well, I came up with that costume like 2 days ahead of time.
And it just so happened you had enough hair on your face.
It just so happened that I could do that, and I had a Hawaiian shirt, and I knew someone that I had a Tigers hat I could wear.
What's the appeal of Halloween? What is this?
Well, what age group are we talking to?
Our age group.
Our age group is
Facebook, Twitter.
that you can see
Stinks.
scantily clad girls.
Well,
Stinks.
as far as your own self dressing up.
There's no incentive for us.
All the pictures, you've seen all the pictures throughout the whole fucking day. Is this fun? Do people enjoy
I would say
this?
it depends if it's something you can come up with that's kind of clever that you don't have to like spend a lot of money on. Like one of the years, I think it was the year before the Tom Selleck year, when I lived in that house with 6 other guys. We were not going to do anything, and then like 2 cute girls wanted us to do stuff, so we all had to come up with costumes at the last minute. And one guy just put on his tool belt, took a flannel shirt, and like cut the sleeves off, and was just like, "Yep, I'm going as a mechanic." And if you can do simple stuff like that like you look at it and it's like, oh yeah, that kind of works, and you don't have to pay money, I think then it's sort of like interesting and clever. Like, I'm not talking about the people that are like, oh yeah, I went and bought an Iron Man suit that looks authentic for $200. That seems a little over the top. But I say that I have not dressed up for Halloween for like 5 or 6 years now.
Coon's
And probably
age.
won't ever again.
Coon's age.
Yeah, that's a coon's age.
Yep, it's been a coon's age.
You don't know many coons that make it more than 5 or 6 years. So I don't actually know how long coons live to begin with. But
Yeah, I don't know the appeal of this deal here.
Anyone remember their last costume, though?
I dressed up as Hulk Hogan one year, I know that.
Nice.
Hulk Hogan, with the mask.
I'm pretty sure in 2008, I have a friend who's white but has a darker complexion, and he has black hair, so he went as Barack Obama
Nice.
because he was being elected. And because he was running against John McCain, I went as John McCain. But I don't remember having a white hair or anything. But I did do the thing where I didn't lift my hands above my arms above my chest.
You're a zombie.
Because John McCain, unfortunately, due to his heroics in war, he can no longer do that. So I made an effort at least.
You do want to
I also
do
dressed.
hair.
I don't know if I dressed up. If I ever dressed up in college for anything, I would have to have my memory jogged if I did.
Oh, so long ago.
It's so long ago, yeah. I don't remember. And
It's
I know one year.
Or
One year I
should-
went as my my high school science teacher, and he had a perm. His hair was curly, and so I just had like a fake wig and the button-up shirt. And he happened to have fairly big glasses, so I just had some big glasses. It was not difficult to pull off.
Stacking, what do you have?
You know what? Normally I dressed up as
Oh, you're Brad Childress. That's who you are.
Yep, I was Brad Childress. A couple years ago, I was a golfer. The most spontaneous one, I guess, I was playing basketball like 3 days before Halloween. Got an elbow to the face, got a black eye.
You went as Adrian Peterson's kid.
That was before we knew about that. So I went as an MMA fighter. I got some gloves. I drew a 6-pack of abs on, so I was shirtless the entire night, and it was like 35 degrees, so it was real good.
Hard nipple stacking. Look at him go.
Could cut glass.
Jesus Christ. Is it necessary for them to do all the graphics on the TV shows, all the Halloween shit, the football games, the spooky music?
Yes.
Why do you care?
It's so fucking ridiculous. Oh, like, who?
They
I
do it
don't
for
know.
Christmas. I don't hear you complaining at Christmas.
Well, it's stupid as well. I don't know why. Is that big of a deal? Is this? I mean, I didn't know this was that big of a deal. This Halloween thing.
It is a big deal.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Not a
Been
big
under a
deal.
rock for a
Clearly,
while.
you've never been to downtown Brookings post when you're old enough to be 21 and going to the bars and stuff. It's much more interesting then. Actually, it was just okay. It wasn't anything special. I mean, it certainly wasn't a bad time, but as you can imagine, it was incredibly packed. It was loud. Drinks were more expensive than normal.
Wasn't too packed last night.
I don't get it.
I had a first-hand report.
I also like that there's Christmas stuff out along with the Halloween stuff. So they say,
I mean, of course, you're naturally going to have that.
Not a fan.
Christmas stuff was out right after Labor Day.
ridiculous and dumb.
I like to put up my Christmas stuff after the NFL draft, just to be safe.
In case you forget. I'm good. That's this episode of the Sports Lounge. We covered everything and then some.
Good Vikings win. Good
Oh
win.
yeah, good Vikings win. Highlight that Vikings win.
They still haven't put together a full 60 minutes yet.
Nope.
But,
and Frank.
Stephon
Oh,
Diggs.
Stacking, you were in Virginia Tech. We didn't talk about your guy Beamer retiring.
It's bad. It's bad.
Oh,
We can talk about him next week. The wound is still fresh.
he's old. Old people retire from their jobs. That's how it
Bud
goes.
Foster, probably the guy.
No, they ain't gonna be hiring anybody who's from there.
Could I interest you in Mike Riley?
No.
Perhaps a trade of some sort.
No.
How would you like Mike Riley and Nebraska's 1970 national title?
For what?
For just taking Mike Riley.
I'll consider it and talk back.
I can throw in Eric Crouch's Heisman Trophy and Tommy Frazier's long run against Florida in the Fiesta Bowl.
I've mentioned before that I've heard rumors that Rich Rod might be
Ooh.
interested.
He ain't leaving Arizona.
It'd be interesting if he went there, but I agree. I don't think he's probably going to leave.
I don't know,
It's-
Scott
it's-
Frost from Oregon. Yeah,
You ain't getting Scott Frost either.
well, shit. Butch Davis. Can I have
You
him?
can have Butch Davis. Yeah. Is there still a show cause penalty on Butch Davis or no?
No, because I mentioned Butch Davis for the Minnesota job earlier. So
Well, there's been some rumors that maybe one Houston Nutt would be interested in.
Oh, God.
Houston Nutt. How does Virginia Tech head coach Houston Nutt sound?
not good. Please.
Do you know about his brother?
Well, we tried to play today, but, we just couldn't get anything established. They came in and they really kicked our hides.
That would all work in Virginia too.
Like,
he can talk like that in Virginia.
that East Carolina's a real deal. They put up 70 on everybody.
They should hire East Carolina.
Don't even get me talking about James Madison.
Don't talk about him. You know his brother?
Houston Nutt.
Billy
brother,
Madison.
No, brother of Houston Nutt.
No, that's what I asked or I said. No, I
Have you
don't
heard
know.
of him?
No.
Former, I believe, former men's coach at Southeast Missouri State.
Oh, that sounds like a real winner. Okay.
I believe he was the, I want to say actually basketball.
Dale
Okay.
Nutt.
No. One of the, probably one of the top 10 names ever, right up next to Dick Cox.
Is it like the Detroit Lions
D's
offensive
nuts?
coordinator, Jimbo
He's
Fisher?
not. And the new Lions offensive coordinator, his brother's name?
No.
Jim Bob Nutt.
Yeah, Jim Bob Cooter.
His brother's name is Dickie Nutt.
Dickie Nutt.
It's a real thing.
Yeah,
Stack
I like
it.
that.
How
Too
about
bad it
from
wasn't
Virginia Tech?
Easy Nuts.
What?
Stack it. For Virginia Tech, you want someone with ties to the Virginia area. So, how about
Jefferson.
former Washington Redskins head coach Joe Gibbs is the next head coach
Ooh.
of Virginia Tech.
He's older than Beamer. I don't want that old fuck.
Even better. How about former Virginia coach Mike London?
Yeah, that's.
Hey,
that's
Gary Kubiak used to coach at Virginia, I think.
There you go. Sign
Maybe
him
I'm
up.
getting him mixed up with someone else, but yeah, you can have Gary Kubiak be the next
I
head
would
coach.
much rather have Marcus Vick head coach, so then he can stop tweeting about all the dumb shit his brother's doing.
Could I interest you in Congressman Lindsey Graham?
Oh yeah, he would be
Oh,
just.
he's from South Carolina, not Virginia.
He's taking a South
Well-
Carolina job.
It would be groundbreaking because he would be the first woman to coach a major college football team. Which would be interesting. So,
I'll get back to you with more coaching
Good.
candidates find
You
next
know who
week.
graduated from Virginia, which means that maybe they'd go to Virginia Tech. You could have Katie Couric be your head coach.
Nice. Very good.
And then you could fire her after a few years, have Bob Schieffer be the interim, and then Scott Pelley would be the coach for the next 20 years. So, the coaching carousel continues. Next week on the Sports Lounge, LSU and Alabama. Will they score a touchdown? Find out.
Yes.
This was 142.
No.
Next week, 143.
Maybe.
Inside the basement lounge.